AUTODAY enthusiasts. Everyone uses a car almost on a daily basis, and the number one factor when people are choosing a car is the safety feature. Now, one of the most famous brands in the world about safety is Volvo from Sweden. They even get the dubbing of the Swedish tank. Now today, we're going to talk about the Volvo 960. So stay on AUTODAY and follow me.
Volvo is one of Sweden's car manufacturers. Volvo launched its first car in 1926, which was named the Volvo OV4 or Jacob. Unfortunately, this car with the open design was considered less compatible for Scandinavian countries, including for Sweden, which can be very cold. In 1934, Volvo spread its wings by manufacturing various machines, such as ships, aircraft engines, and railway engines. Since then, Volvo prioritizes a high level of security in every product. Volvo has its own standards in testing cars. Not only crash tests, more than that, Volvo tests its car frames with a free fall drop, and the result is that the core frame of the car is not broken at all. Unbelievable. That's why Volvo, the Swedish tank, is famous with its tagline, "Safety is number one."
This is a really cool car, smiling.
That's mine
And I'm
too.
going to point here at the Volvo 960 estate, right?
Hello guys, my name is Sultan Sharif Abdullah, and I am a enjoyer of classic cars. This is my 1992 Volvo 960 estate. It is a station wagon version of the normal Volvo 960 sedan. I think I like this Volvo estate because primarily I grew up with one. When I was a child, my dad often drives me in these things a lot, and I guess it's stuck in my memory, and yeah, I can't seem to move on until I can finally get my own. And some of my friends in college actually called me a little crazy for driving a car this old to go to college, but I have proven to them that this Swedish tank can be just as reliable as a new car as long as you can maintain it and you can drive it every day.
All right, so Sultan, I want to ask you, how old is this car?
30. It was made in 1992.
1992. And how old are you?
I was born in 2001.
Well, 2001.
There's a 9-year contrast between me and this car.
9-year contrast between this car. And you mentioned earlier the registration papers are different though.
Yes, the registration papers are from 1994 because I guess in the cars in Indonesia, how they work is that the registry on the year depends on what year was it sold instead of how year was it made.
So it's like you as the younger person taking care of the older car, right?
Yeah.
That's some fun.
It's the other way around, yeah.
But I was also looking you up on Instagram, right? On your Instagram, you had a picture of the Swedish flag. Can you tell a little bit more about that? Why do you have a picture of the Instagram? Is it because you love Volvos or?
I just think it looks kind of cool on my Instagram, huh?
So the Swedish flag?
I guess that's the only reason.
Just because it's cool.
Yeah.
But I think the Swedish flag also correlates with Volvo, right?
Yeah.
Whenever people think about Sweden, they think about Volvo as one of the kind of the top brands, and vice versa. When they think about Volvo, they think about Sweden as the country that makes them. Now, Sultan, I want to ask you, the Volvo is dubbed as the Swedish tank, right? Because of its safety features, right? A tank sounds something like indestructible. Can you explain to me, as a Volvo driver, what are some of the safety features that you enjoy that you can share with us?
This Volvo offers 3 primary safety systems. The first is the 3-point seat belt, which is what Volvo pioneered, because back then seat belts were only at the lap belts. The second is the crumple zone system. You see, the entire front end of this car is designed to crumple in order to absorb the energy of a crash. And of course, it's not only the front and the back. There is also the side impact protection system on the sides, which means that inside this car there is like a very thick steel beams that is able to disperse the forces to the other side, which means that the car would not snap or bend in an event of a T-bone.
Now, Sultan, but I also have 3 fun facts for you. Did you know Volvo used to be dubbed the Swedish tank? Why? Because Sweden is in Scandinavia, right? And Scandinavia used to be a Viking country.
Go on.
Now, to protect themselves, the Vikings and the Swedish people became very good at making weapons and steel structures. And I think that's why you mentioned, right? The steel here, which is reinforced steel, is very strong. that if anything happens, if there's a car crash or anything, the people inside this car are safe. That's why they dubbed it the Swedish tank. I think that's where the term came from. Now Sultan, the second fun fact was, I was doing my research and I saw that the Volvo was once hit by a car really hard from behind.
That is correct.
The Volvo was actually in pretty minor damage. They didn't even replace the bumper. It was only minor fix, but the other car unfortunately had big damages towards it. And I think that goes back to your reputation where you're saying the reinforced steel of the Volvo frame all around the front, the sides, and the back, that makes it such a safe car. That's why they call it the Swedish tank. My third fun fact is that back in the day, in President Suharto's era, the ministers of Indonesia used Volvo as the official car for the ministers. I think it's because of their safety reputation of the Volvo that they chose it to protect the safety and the comfort of our VIPs back in the day.
Yeah, I can definitely confirm that because this car is actually supremely comfortable.
Supremely comfortable.
It's hard to move from another car.
All right, Sultan, I can't wait anymore. I want to review this 960 Volvo, and I'm sure you guys too, right? But don't go anywhere. Stay on AUTODAY. We're going to talk about this in detail. Come on.
For most people, owning an old car is out of the question. Other than outdated technology, availability of spare parts are also hard to get. But not for Sultan, who was able to build his 960 Volvo estate back to good condition. Even for a car made in the 90s, this car is perfect.
Alright guys, now we're talking about the back of the car, the rear side of it, and again, it's still a beauty to be seen from the back. And again, we talked about the frame, right? The frame being the reinforced steel part, so that even if there's a rear collision, nothing happens. But tell me more, what did you modify or what's original part of the back side of this car?
Mostly the part of this car on the back is all original.
Okay.
The only thing that I changed is actually this window trim, which is a chrome instead of normal black.
Yep.
And lastly is the badging. You see, the 960 GLE is a option, a trim from other markets, and I just thought the logo looked better on this car and it helps to distinguish the car as well compared to other 960 estates in Indonesia. And I guess that's nice.
So everything from the exhaust is original, to this Volvo signage is original,
All
to
original.
the window wiper is original, to everything. And it looks really great from behind. And again, when we're talking about the side of the car, right, we're also talking about the turn signal, right? And is this original here? Because I think based on my research, this wasn't originally here.
Nope, it wasn't original. You see, the original for the 960, this is black. Mine is chrome. This is from a Volvo 760. 960s do not have the Volvo emblem on the fender.
But you added it here.
Yeah, for the retrofit, and I think it looks more classic this way.
Look at this beautiful wheel right here. Now, is this original, Sultan, or is this modified?
This is the very rim it came with when it was shipped on the first day.
Wow, the very original rim, and it's still in pretty pristine condition.
Well, in that case, it was repainted because, yeah, the thing is, rims tend to fade in color, so I repainted with the original silver.
So everything we talked about, from the rims, to the body, to the lining, to the color, everything you try to keep it simple, but yet sophisticated. I love that about it. All right, I want to talk about the inside, Sultan, of this baggage. You want to open it up?
Sure.
Wow. Wow, guys. Look at all this space that we have here. And I know it's covered right now. We'll take the cover off. But talk to me about the tonneau cover here. Was this original or is this something you added on yourself?
It is added on by myself, but Volvo offers this option and the first owner did not take this option. Well, I do think a tonneau cover is essential because it covers your cargo, right? Yeah, and I don't like how my stuff flies around if I don't have a tonneau cover.
Right? So again, the tonneau cover is a great add-on that you did. And I want to open this up here so everyone can see how big this luggage is. Look at all this compartmental space over here that you can fit a lot of baggages if you're having a family road trip, a lot of stuff if you're moving and bringing stuff around, right?
Yeah.
And then also, if you can notice here, if you guys can look in, there's the dog cover here. And is the dog cover original or something that you added on?
It is original.
Now, talk to me about the spare part or the spare wheel here. You want to open this up and show us where the spare wheel is stored?
Sure, why not? Let's go.
So look at all this space. You can see the spare wheel is over there, down inside the trunk. But even then, if you close it back up, there's still so much space, right? Usually in other traditional cars, that I think a lot of the wheel for the spare wheel takes up a big part of the trunk, so there's not much capacity. But this is really big and really huge, right? We can even sit down in it.
Yes, it's useful for those picnic trips.
Picnic trips, and you can sit down and talk to people, and even lay down. Oh, this is really big. Nice. Do you go camping a lot?
Only at times.
Only times. All right. But, you know, I'm really kind of seeing some of the interior. Let's go talk about the interior, guys. Come on. So Sultan, let's talk first about the iron logo here that really calls out the car when you're looking at it from the front. This is still the original logo, right?
All of it is still original.
All of it's still original, but I think nowadays, if I'm not mistaken, Volvo has slightly changed the logo. This is from the 90s, but nowadays it's a little different.
The small update is you see the iron logo here is still in the middle, and it's in a bracket. The new one does not have this square bracket anymore, and it's just the naked iron mark logo, but they do still have the line that intersects with it.
Nice, nice. So it's still the original logo of the Volvo right here. All right, guys, now let's talk about the headlights next. Now, Sultan, you're saying these are halogen lights to me, correct?
Yes, and they're all original. All of the bulbs inside this headlamp is all according to the spec, the recommended spec of this vehicle.
Nice, nice, and according to the user's manual, right, that you mentioned?
Yes.
Now, something unique, right, just like cars from back in the day, is that it still has the windshield wipers. And they still function properly?
Yes, it still works, but I have no idea how to do it though. Right.
So I did my research, right? And the reason why this car has windshield wipers is because Volvo is from Sweden. And in Sweden, there's extreme weather, right? So when there's extreme weather, there's a lot of snow, heavy snow pouring, the lights can't really see far that much. So
yeah,
that's why they added the windshield wipers.
It can easily pile up in this as well, and the wipers has a job to
clean it up.
To clean it all up so that the headlights still work in like those dark winter drives, you know?
Exactly, and then that's another safety plus point that the Volvo has, right? Because they're thinking they want to make sure everything is safe, even though it's dark, even though it's snowing, that the person inside the Volvo can still see up front and everything is going fine. Now, Sultan, you were telling to me earlier that it's about 2300 cc's with two different codes, right? Can you explain more about that?
You see, in Indonesian specs, the 960 Estate always comes with the first code, which is the B230. This is a 2.3 liter engine that has a turbo, compared to the 3 liter engine, which does not have the turbo. This engine is more preferred for Indonesian roads because our roads are quite small and there is no benefit of having a large engine over here. It produces more torque and it's not as thirsty as the big 3 liter engine.
Nice, nice.
So far, I think it is a very reliable daily driver that you can use every day.
Yeah, very reliable, very durable, very consistent, right? Very the Volvo kind of type spirit, which encourages safety first. I want to ask you about spare parts, right? So when we talk about Volvos, are Volvo spare part compared to other European brands, are they more expensive or maybe a little more cheaper for those who are wondering at home?
Compared to other car manufacturers from Europe, Volvo parts are quite expensive.
What about shops here? Car repair, mechanics? Is it hard to find mechanics and car shops that kind of can repair and help you replace Volvo parts, or can any shop in Indonesia do it?
Because of the engine's relatively simple design, most of the shops can do it, but I think it's best that you bring it to a specialist when the problem goes a little deeper, right?
But first, let's start off with the chair. So are the chair original, or did you change the covers?
I did change the covers because the original cover has gone quite bad because of the car's age. Correct? It's 30 years old.
Yeah. So you didn't want to choose the original covers again because you don't like leather, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. I just think the fabric looks much better than leather, and that way I can make, you see those door trims as well?
Correct.
Yeah, They're also custom, and I think it complements the black leather of the car very well.
Yeah, I really like it because the outside is also metallic gray, right?
Yes.
So this leather is also kind of a white or light gray type color that you have it. I personally feel very comfortable inside this car sitting, guys. But then the next thing that comes to my mind is the steering wheel, right? This great steering wheel. Is this original or did you change it?
It is still original.
Why didn't you choose to change it or modify it?
Because a custom steering wheel does not, I don't think it suits the overall mood of the cabin. I just much prefer a black leather steering wheel because it just complements the rest of the cabin and the interior as well. Not to mention the steering wheel is very comfortable to grip as well.
Yeah, it is.
Because of the very thin rim, you know?
Correct.
Awesome! In the Sultan's hands, this car is older than the owner, and you can say it's a perfect Volvo 960 estate in its condition. The Sultan restored his car a lot, but didn't change the Swedish tank from its original shape. Only a few parts, which are not exactly the same as the original materials, such as leather seats and coating on the door trim.
I want to talk next about the dashboard. Here, the dashboard. Is everything original here on the dashboard?
Most of it is original, but only one exception is the head unit or the tape. I chose this Pioneer P99RS as a tape that I chose because it sounds great, it looks great, and has this retro look to it.
So the only thing modified is the radio, but everything else, the vents, they have one on the left-hand side, two in the middle, one on the right-hand side. You have the fans here, 5 levels, you have the different cooling systems, you have the different areas, the recycled air, the AC on or off, the CD changer, everything is original.
Everything is original.
Tell me more about this and all the different notifications it has on here.
It has 5 gauges from the left to the right.
Yep.
The first, it has the fuel gauge.
Yep.
Then you have, of course, something a luxury car should have, an analog clock.
Yep.
Then you have the speedometer and maybe the more optional tachometer on the right side as well. And on the very right side, you have the temperature gauge, which is essential in older cars because you need to monitor that a lot.
Yeah, and including all the buttons here and the panels, the electronic windows for 90s is something also pretty new too. You have mirror controls that are electric as well,
Yes,
for left and right. And everything is just really great in this car. So again, I feel very safe in this Volvo, even though it's from the 90s. This is a really great car, I love it. Shall we go take it for a spin, guys?
Go for it.
Go for it. All right, guys, let's go take it for a spin. This is a really great car, I love it. All right, guys, let's go take it for a spin. Okay guys, I'm here inside the Volvo 960. I'm driving it. It feels really great. The wheel is good. The power steering works very well. It's very light to drive, right? The pedal is great. Look at this. I'm barely pressing the gas, and the acceleration, it's already accelerating by itself. So the acceleration we talked about, the acceleration feels good. The brakes also, when I was slowing down earlier for the speed bumps, it also felt really good. I want to talk about the transmission too, right? The transmission is also very smooth for being a 30-year-old transmission when I moved it from P to D.
I don't think it has been rebuilt once as well. I think this is still the factory transmission, as when I opened it up, the seals are still original, like it's supposed to be red when it's original, right?
Yeah. So again, we're coming up on a turn, and I'm braking, and again, the brake just feels really good, man. I feel, to be honest, it doesn't feel like a 30-year-old car to me. If you were to put like a blindfold or kind of mask the exterior of it, I would just feel like I'm driving a normal car that's relatively still new.
That's very good to hear from you. Thank you very much.
Yeah. And I also love the visibility, you know, the big wide windows here. Everything seems clear. I can look all the way over there, all the way back there, including the rear mirror. I can see the back side pretty well. It has great visibility for front and back. Also, I feel like, I don't know, does it feel like soundproof? I feel like I can't hear anything outside. There's motorcycles around us, there's cars around us.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm really surprised at when I first bought this car as well, is the sound deadening. It's actually very quiet. It's similar to I think a Toyota Corolla of the modern era, which is good considering that Corolla I'm comparing to is almost 25 years younger than this thing is.
Yeah, yeah.
The thing is about cars is when it's not comfortable or when it's not pleasing for me to drive, I won't drive it daily. I'd rather use public transport.
Yeah.
But in this case, well, this car is actually comfortable enough for me to just keep using it every day. I just like it that much.
Yeah. And again, as you mentioned, the dashboard has the 5 indicators, and you know, I'm looking at the indicators work very well. You can see me accelerating slowly. It also goes up slowly. And again, as you mentioned, we need to look at the heat gauge, right?
Yeah,
just
because
keep an eye on.
Yeah, it's an old car, so it won't do any harm in keeping your eye on the temperature gauge.
Has it ever overheated at all, or no?
Nope.
So talk to me about the fuel consumption of this, Sultan. How efficient is it? How many kilometers can I get per liter?
The thing is, when you're talking about an engine this big, which is 2.3 liters, and the shape of a brick, which doesn't correlate with air quite well, it's not gonna get good fuel efficient. But I wouldn't say it's very thirsty as well. I'm getting an average around 7 to 8 kilometers per liter, I guess, and that's on full city use. But on highways, I can easily get up to 10 or even 11 kilometers per liter. That's on a really good day.
Wow, that's not too bad at all, actually.
Well, if you count the average, well, that's maybe around 9 kilometers to even 10 kilometers, correct? Which is, considering its age, its size, and I guess maybe its ride quality, I don't mind paying that much.
Yeah. So, suspensions feel good. And like as you mentioned earlier, you've never really had any problems with the car so far? No major issues?
When I do have a problem, it's more like it's very minor and you can easily solve it within 1 or 2 days and such like that, and it's completely like finished and you can easily use it again to go back to work or to go to college or something like that.
So I want to talk about the steering wheel here. Steering wheel, can we move it up and down? There's a few different positions that you can move it, is that correct?
It is tilt, but it isn't telescopic yet.
Oh, it's tilt, but it isn't telescopic, okay. Which I think, having been tilt, is that pretty modern for its day when it was back made in '92 or no?
Even the lower spec cars, they don't have both tilt and telescopic as well. So yeah, I think it's quite modern for its time.
Yeah, and again, it feels really good. I want to ask you, what's the furthest distance you've gone bringing this car? You say maybe you've taken a couple road trips. How far has that been?
I once take it to Bogor at most because I'm still testing around the car, but I do plan to bring it to Bandung at times. That's why I've been restoring this car so I can use it for long trips.
For long trips. But so you go to Bogor, which is maybe about 45 minutes from Jakarta?
Yeah, via highway, yes.
45 minutes, and I think even for me, to drive this car, again, I've only been here for a short period, but how does a 45-minute drive feel to you? I imagine it's feel comfortable and fine.
It feels like 15 minutes, to be honest.
Feels like 15 minutes, just because you enjoy the car, everything is smooth.
Yeah, it's really an enjoyable experience, everything about it, I guess. Well, maybe for me, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm glad to hear it from another perspective as well.
Yeah, it's good.
The Volvo Estate Type and sedan was manufactured from 1990 to 1997. It was a favorite car during its time, so the Volvo 960 Classic car, its sales beat other automotive companies. The entire sales of this Volvo 960 Classic car reach over 154,000 units, with 112,000 sedan types and 41,000 estate-style units.
Wow, guys, that was such a great experience driving this Volvo 960. It's really good shape. We talked a lot about it. And hey, Sultan, thank you so much, man, for taking the time talking about it. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure, all, man.
All right, AUTODAY enthusiasts, that wraps up today's episode. Make sure you tune in again for another classic car. Bye-bye now.